here hanging out with
We're
the
live.
deer.
We're
live.
the deer are back there. We're live. Episode 3 of the BE1NG podcast. Still at the 5D office though.
Still at the 5D office. And as always, I'm Cory.
I'm John. What's going on, guys?
And we're chatting things all consciousness,
As
all
always.
spirituality, all health and wellness. What else are we talking? We're talking about everything, bro.
We're talking about God.
Yo, we are talking about God.
We're talking about everything because everything is God.
Mm-hmm. So that's a new concept I've been playing with.
What?
I've been reading the Kabbalion.
All right, yeah. Let's talk about the Kabbalion. Yeah.
Okay, so
The
Hermeticism,
7
right?
laws of
You're
Hermeticism, yeah.
you're familiar with Hermeticism.
I actually was talking to someone about the Kabbalion. This kid I met from Canada, he was telling me about the he was like telling me about it, but like I already knew what he was talking about. I was also telling one of my girlfriends about this. But like, dive in on the 7 laws. We
All
can.
right,
Let's
do you
pull up
want
the
me?
laws.
Do you want me to pull up?
I'll pull
here.
up the laws.
While you're pulling up the laws, I'm going to explain what the Kabbalion has to say about God.
Okay, go crazy.
So what the Kabbalion says about God is that we live in God's mind. We live in a mental universe, right? That's one of the Hermetic laws is that all is mental.
yes,
We
that
live in
is
a mental
mentalism.
universe, and this mental universe is God's imagination.
That is the first law of Hermeticism.
the first law of Hermeticism is what?
The principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental.
Now, the all. Do you understand what I'm saying when I say the all?
I understand what you're saying.
What does that mean to you?
To me, the all I think about is like the Dharma, like the Brahman, like all this energy that exists in us, and then like you said, like the all is mental, the all is the universe is like our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Us just being connected to a higher level of consciousness or like a collective mind that is like this is all the all. This is the all.
Mhm.
Like these tree, I'm connected to these bamboo trees. I'm connected to you. Anything that is consciousness, essentially everything has consciousness. So the all, I believe, is just
All encompassing.
literally the all, like
Yeah.
everything.
Because the all is infinitely expanding, but the all is infinitely conscious. The all is infinitely creative. The all is infinitely destructive. The all is every attribute that you can put to it. And that's why when we have these affirmations, they're very powerful. Is because if I label myself and I say I am the all, I am abundant, I am magnetic, I am attractive, and I apply these labels to myself, you're essentially taking like this intelligence that the universe has to offer and putting it within yourself.
And I think another way to exactly that, but one thing I wasn't arguing with someone about this, but like one of my buddies, he couldn't. I guess you could call it. He couldn't understand the all. Like he wasn't understanding the mentalism and everything. But it also comes back. I was trying to explain it to him, and everything is consciousness because everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And I think it always goes back to that statement by Nikola Tesla that the universe is energy, frequency, and vibration.
And that's one of the Hermetic laws, principles too.
Yeah. Wait. Which one? Let's see.
Here,
It's the
hold up.
principle.
Here, so read the laws out.
Yeah, I'll just read them.
Yeah,
All
read
right,
'em.
so we read principle of mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. The second law is principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. Essentially, being like what happens in this reality is reflected in a higher and
You
lower
see that
plane.
manifest in the sacred geometry, in the golden ratio, in phi.
Oh, this is it right here.
Go ahead.
The principle of vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything
Mhm.
vibrates.
Yep.
Then you could also have the fourth law, principle of polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Then the fifth law is the principle of rhythm. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Then we have the principle of cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. And then the last law is the principle of gender, because everything is gender. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. So those are the 7 laws of Hermetic principles.
And I've been looking very closely into those laws.
Those are some great laws. too.
Exactly. So what those laws allow you, that's just like the groundwork of Hermeticism, right? So those laws are, okay, I understand these to be the unalienable truths of our universe. Like, you can't break these laws.
Yeah, those are things you cannot disagree with.
No being is higher than those laws. The all is the law.
That is true.
The all is the law. So that's
all is the law.
all is the law. That's the thing. So we can't break those laws, but what we can do is we can transmute those laws. And we can use those laws and transmute that energy from those laws in consciously. So for example, transmutation of energy. We understand how that works, right? Say I'm driving my car and some dude starts cursing at me, giving me the middle finger and blah blah blah, right? I'm conscious enough to not be a mirror in
Not
that
react to
situation.
him.
Exactly, because everybody's a mirror. If I'm going to be a mirror, I'm going to get angry and I'm going to project it back at that guy because he's giving it to me. But I'm conscious enough to allow it to go right through me and transmute it into a smile.
And
That guy's anger transmutes into a smile.
That is the principle of cause and effect.
Yes.
Right there. And then we have like the principle of polarity. Everything is being dual. So you can have like you said, that guy being mad at you, but your dual opposite of him is being like, even though this guy just cursed me out, I'm gonna send him some love.
Yes.
So it's like that, and that is the game. And then another thing we could touch on is that because we live in this third dimension, and I would say the most root principle of the third dimension is that everything is polarity and everything is dual.
Yes.
Because that polarity allows us to elevate our consciousness, because without the polarity, if everything was just sunshines and rainbows, there would be our consciousness would already be of that high vibration. There would be no reason to work on yourself or try to help people to raise their consciousness, because we already be there. But because of the polarity, like you could wake up and have just by maybe it's raining outside, and some people would be like, all right, this is a shitty day from the start just because the clouds are outside, but without that, you wouldn't be able to get up, because if you use that rain, say, and then you get up and you still kill the day and you win the day, that is the duality of man right there. Like, it's about
perception.
It's just all about perception.
All about perception. Like you said, we live in a dual universe. Our karma is to align our universes and make it one.
Yeah.
Right? So like you see Jesus says, we always bring it back to Jesus. He's the man.
He is the man.
He's the man. Jesus says in the Bible, like, when you make the two one, you will move mountains. Thoth says the same thing in the Emerald Tablets. They say the same thing in the Kabbalion. And the 2-1 being the dual universe, when I learn to see the negative as a positive and the positive as a negative and align them into one truth, or hot and cold, it's all the same.
It's all about just getting to the one. And I think through using these, not only the Hermetic principles, but I would say the Hermetic principles are like the most conscious oriented, or the most spiritually oriented laws, because like those laws come from like Thoth, Hermes Trismegistus, like ethereal beings.
Now, for the people that don't understand Hermes Trismegistus means Hermes the thrice great, and the thrice great coming from Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom and mathematics, some other things, a lot about mathematics. The architect of the Great Pyramid, architect of the Great Pyramids.
Self-claimed by Thoth.
Exactly, self-claimed by Thoth.
In the Emerald Tablets.
In the Emerald Tablets. So you could check that out. And the Kabbalion is essentially a compilation of all of the works.
You could essentially say that the Emerald Tablets and the Kabbalion kind of
so they have that. They have the Corpus Hermeticum. They have a couple other texts that are in line. Then you get Hermes, right? Hermes from Greek,
yeah.
And then, oh my God, the Roman. There's one other manifestation of him.
Could it be like Jupiter?
Mercury?
Jupiter.
It might be Mercury in Roman times.
This is what the internet is for.
Yes.
So we don't just like say like some random
and like
shit.
Dude, people don't use their phones for good. People use their phones to just be mindless zombies. Like, you have some supercomputer in your pocket at all times.
It's
what do we got?
Okay, so so
is it Mercury?
Just as Mercury travels the whole Greek cosmos, Odin. I think they're Odin as well.
Interesting.
Odin.
So it doesn't matter. There's a
It
lot of
doesn't
different
matter.
manifestations of this.
Yeah, so
Hermes Trismegistus.
Odin being in like North mythology and
Mm.
Mercury being the Roman
Okay,
figure. So yes, he's all four.
understood. So he just carries a great wealth of knowledge. Every one of his every book that I've checked out the Corpus Hermeticum, the Kabbalion, and the Emerald Tablets, and I've read all of them basically all the way through, I think.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that I took away is alchemy. And understanding alchemy not as going and trying to turn lead into gold and not trying to transmute elements, but rather transmute energy. And
Well, that is the principle,
exactly.
because you can't do that shit if you aren't manipulating the energy.
You're not manipulating, you're transforming.
Well,
You're changing.
I feel like you could still say manipulate it.
No, because you don't hold the power to manipulate. The all holds the power to manipulate. But the all doesn't manipulate. We can't manipulate the law. We can't manipulate what is. Like everything is ever changing. So what I was reading on and trying to understand is nothing is in our universe. Like you know how when we say I am, we're putting ourselves into that present moment of what is. But that's very short-lived and very fleeting. The universe is constantly becoming and the universe is constantly changing. And we have to understand that so are we.
Yes, we are. We are always changing.
We're always changing, always becoming.
We have to change, and that is the best thing about the Earth life is if you don't change, you could end up reincarnating in this life millions and millions of times over until you figure it out.
I think most will.
And we probably will. We might even have one more in us.
I
or
think
a couple.
we could.
Or a couple more.
We could.
But we won't know. We don't. I don't know how many times I've been here, and you'll never know unless you get to the next level.
Yeah, and this is all a video game. Like, we come in, we play
It's
the money.
best video game.
We play the money matrix, but it's very separate from work life and then spiritual life and family life. There's almost these different masks and charades that you put on.
There's the saying. I'm gonna butcher this a little bit, but the three masks. I think it's a Japanese law, or not law, but just like ideology that you have the mask that you put on for like everyone that you come encounter with. You have the mask that like you show your friends, but then there's also the mask that only you know. So like Cory and I have known each other for years. Like he only gets my second mask though. You know what I mean? Like even I don't know what goes on when like you're by yourself. Your like deepest thoughts.
Yes.
Like that's the whole idea. But the point is, I think allowing yourself to get to a point where even like your most like deepest and darkest secrets, if you feel comfortable enough to then share those, so you have no third mask.
Exactly.
Like your first or second mask, you should only have one mask.
Yeah.
What you like the truth of like whatever you want to live is just what everyone gets from you. Like you shouldn't. And it's obviously that's the hardest thing, and that's like if you were able to conquer that right now, there'd be no reason to live this
And
life.
resonate in truth is what we're trying to do.
It's extremely hard.
I think that me and you do a great job with that. Like
I try my best. Like I don't try to be fake. In any way.
Exactly. And I think being able to have a select few people that you are able to be fully transparent with and fully see through, like if you ask me anything, I think for the most part,
you would answer truthfully.
Exactly. I don't think I lied to you in almost anything. You know what I'm saying? And maybe there's things that I wouldn't say like willingly. Maybe I'd have to be provoked to say things.
Yeah.
Right? But that's the whole game is like, how do I abide in truth and not leave it? Because the truth is this present moment. So if I can constantly be transparent with everyone I meet and see everyone in their perfect divine form, that's me getting closer and closer to that one truth of enlightenment, of illumination, of divine presence.
Divine presence, yeah. God.
Exactly.
The all. Like, and it goes back to that first law of mentalism. The only way to get to the all is through the mental, because you have to understand that everything you just said, like allowing yourself to be open and vulnerable and connect. Like if you tell me all your secrets, whatever, you're going to come closer to that all-encompassing one. But you're mentally aware and conscious that you're okay with like your deepest and darkest secrets enough to where you could share them with like whoever you feel comfortable enough sharing them with. So that enough in order like that's why EQ is a big thing. SQ is the spiritual intelligence, the emotional I think the more you cultivate your emotional intelligence, the spiritual intelligence kind of starts to come along with that as well.
Well, the emotional intelligence is spiritual intelligence.
It's the same thing.
They're not that different, because when you start to understand your emotions, you're tapping into that emotional plane,
yes.
that astral plane. So when I understand what emotional when I understand what emotional state that I'm resonating in, I can consciously move up the scale of consciousness. If I understand right now that I am resonating in, let's say, reason. I am a reasonable person. I'm not sad. I'm not fearful. I'm not shameful or guilty, but I'm also not loving and accepting of everybody. But I can reason with it, right? I now have the ability and the awareness in myself to consciously climb that scale of consciousness. So it's like, okay, I'm at reason. Let's move up. I want to be at love. And what steps do I need to be there? And that's where the spiritual intelligence comes in. Is, okay, if I want to be at love, how do I
open that?
Yeah. What practices do I do? What?
And that is exactly like you said. The spiritual intelligence will come with that, because in order to, the only way to like fully open that heart chakra, that love, all about that loving, resonate with love essentially, is like, I don't think you could really do that without having to sit down and meditate and breathe and be conscious of like all of your emotions. Because like you said, if you're sitting at reason, right, the only way to get to that love is to even first understand that you're at reason, to then climb up. If you don't even understand if you're not self-aware enough to understand what emotion you're resonating with, then you won't be able to get to that. But the only way to get to understand that shit is to sit down and breathe and meditate, or not even meditate, go for a walk, mindful practices, anything that is a mindful practice, like just going for a walk. Us just like, we're not meditating right now, but me and you are having a back and forth conversation. Like, we're both in the present moment, trying to align ourselves with one another.
We're very self-aware, and I think in a sense I am very self-absorbed in myself, where I understand myself so deeply. I understand how the outside world manifests around me. So like we say, if I'm resonating in reason, or if I'm resonating in love, you're going to see that reflected back to you by who you surround yourself with and what happens around you. Like if you're resonating in love, you're going to see people in love. You're going to see people kissing. You're going to see babies taking their first steps. You're going to see dogs playing on the beach. You're going to see happiness, and you're going to see synchronicities.
Yes.
You're going to see things that align with that frequency that you're in. Because Nikola Tesla says it best, like energy, frequency, vibration. When you can align yourself with your ideal reality through these different emotional states, because emotional states are vibrational states. You align yourself with that vibrational state, and then you have the power to choose your reality.
Yes. That's my hardest thing to try to explain to people, because like I'll say to my friends, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, and they'll just be like, no. And I'm like, I'm like, you literally can't say no. Like, it's not something that is up for like debate or opinion. Like, that is a fact. So once you understand that is a fact, that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, you could then start to understand that the energy is all the energy is conscious, rather. And with that being said, if all the energy is conscious and everything is energy, then you must believe that I am just the same energy as this bamboo tree, but I'm just resonating at a higher frequency than that bamboo tree. And then once you start to think that again comes back to the all is the mind.
Now, can you explain a little bit further? Can you explain a little bit further what that means to be resonating higher than that bamboo tree, like in pertinence to consciousness?
Yeah, so we could talk about the densities of consciousness, like the Law of One talks about. A lot of different people have talked about this inside. David R. Hawk. All right, so what I was just explaining was that I have the same energy as like all these bamboo trees, all this like leaves and like grass and stuff on the ground, right? That being said, everything is energy. I'm just an energy resonating at a higher frequency than that. So to explain that in dimensions of consciousness, or levels of consciousness rather, we have the basic level of the first dimension, right, being so if you before I even go up, we want to say there's 7 or 8 dimensions of consciousness, right? I usually go by the 7. Some people say there's 8.
I like to say
the octave.
I like to say
whatever.
that 8 is the octave because I'm a very musical person and it makes
I
sense
like the
in my
octave.
head.
I like the octave.
It makes sense in my head.
Okay, but whatever. So the highest level, say 8, is the all. The lowest level is also
No, because no. The 8 isn't the all. It keeps going and keeps going
well,
and
it keeps going, but
eternally.
in the sense, well, all right. So we'll say the all in the idea that that's the source.
Yes.
That we're gonna go back to.
We're
still
never
we'll-
going to truly reach the all.
Yes,
though.
we'll still, but in this
Because we are the creation of the all.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but just for the
Explanation?
explanation,
All right,
we're gonna just call the octave, the 8th dimension, the source.
Okay.
We're also gonna call the first dimension source because you had to have came from somewhere, right? So the first dimension would be the elements, right? We have water, fire, air, ether. Did I say earth? Earth
No.
too. So
Yes.
those are the 5, right? So those elements are conscious, right? But the way that they because they're living. So think about the ocean. The ocean is alive. It's constantly flowing. The air is constantly moving. The trees and all this stuff is constantly growing. The earth is alive. It's an organism just as much as Cory and I are organisms. So that being said, they play together, and we always say everything is play. The way they interact with one another, so the rain comes down and then the trees sprout up, or the ocean collides with the beach and pushes the land back, and all this stuff. It's all energy just moving in flow with one another. That being said, by the energies and these elements working together, they're raising their consciousness. So then we could say, okay, at a certain point in time, this energy consciousness turns into the second dimension of consciousness, which could then be considered all living like organisms, like fungus being like the lowest, I would say, right? Would you call it like stuff like that,
Yeah.
like bacteria,
So
all
we're
that
now
stuff?
now we're in the second density.
Yeah, second density.
So the second density we get
Here,
into
we'll
the
go back and
funguses.
forth. You
Yeah.
explain the second.
All right, so now the second density, we get into the funguses and we get into plants and we start moving up into insects and animal life. And now the second density of consciousness is very closely aligned with small degrees of self-awareness.
Yes.
Right? So that's all consciousness is self-awareness. So the plants and these trees, right, they're not very self-aware at all.
No.
But as you move up, you start to see self-awareness manifest differently. Insects, you see bees, they have a sense of community. Now they have some sort of self-awareness. And then we see squirrels and deer running across over here. They have a lot of self-awareness. They keep themselves alive, they sustain themselves, they have fight or flight.
They work with one another.
Exactly. The birds, they communicate through one another and even accept other species of birds as themselves.
Yes.
Like I saw a crow playing with another bird yesterday, not the same species. They're
both just birds.
they're both interacting.
They're
Exactly.
just being birds.
Exactly. Now we're moving up a little bit, and now say we get to domesticated dogs. I happen to have a puppy right now, and she is very, very self-aware for a dog. Like she's only a year old, but she's very self-aware. That goes.
And it
for
goes
any
back
animal.
to you. Essentially, you gave her the name Coda.
Exactly.
But by you giving her the name Coda,
And then giving her love.
the love,
Yes.
the love is the biggest thing. Because one, all right, so she could like in the beginning, she didn't know her name was Coda, but when you call her Coda every day, and then you say, "Oh, Coda, come here," and then you maybe give her a cookie or something,
Blueberries.
and then she likes blueberries.
Loves blueberries.
Okay, so you give her the blueberries, then you pet her, you show her love. She's like, okay, now like she starts to come to terms with, she is Coda and she is separate from Cory.
Mhm.
Because when she first came home, she probably didn't understand at all like what she was, who these people, who your family was,
No.
what was going on, all this stuff. But as you continue to call her Coda,
Exactly.
show her love, now I'm sure she's like fully conscious of exactly
Very fully conscious.
what kind of dog she is, you know.
Uh-huh.
So that's the best part.
And we watch that.
And you watch
we
that
watch
process,
that move.
yeah.
We watch that process move up. So that's the second density, right? Now we have domesticated animals who are very high second density, right? So maybe even third density, some animals where they have a sense of awareness, where they can look in a mirror and they can say, that is me. Like, I understand. Like, you've seen monkeys.
Well, we could say this. Does your dog have an ego?
We don't know that.
We don't know.
She doesn't have words to explain that. So I think that she is in second density.
Because that's where we could explain
maybe
the third.
Coco the chimp, who had a form of communicate. I think communication is a very important.
Developed ego. Because like
Exactly.
Coco was saying like humans bad.
Yes.
So
like we must love. We must love.
So that comes from a place of, obviously Coco was very loving, but her ego was able to say that this is bad.
Yes.
She was able to observe that there is good and bad in everything.
Yes. And then, so that awareness now.
Shout out Coco.
Shout out Coco. And now we watch that awareness manifest into the third density plane, which we are on right now. And you might even be able to say that a human child born is a second density being before it has any self-awareness. You understand?
I think you could probably get away with saying that.
So
you could definitely
now you
get
give it the name
because it doesn't know it.
Exactly.
Because like think about like no one knows when this happens, but for every person it happens when you're like maybe like 3, 4, 5 years old, and then like all of a sudden you just like kind of know what's going on, but like not really. Like you just live. There's like a moment in time where like you just are born and then you live like completely unaware, and then all of a sudden you just like become aware of like what's around you to a limited extent. But yeah, that understanding, that development of self-awareness is what would raise your consciousness through the dimensions, etc. And that being of love. So we always talk about the love being the way to elevate your consciousness. So when you're a baby, your parents are just giving you love 24/7.
Love.
It's everything is love. Anyone that comes to see you when you're a child is like,
because you are your
so
perfect
cute.
form.
Yeah,
you are pure. You are divine.
All right, fuck it. Let's get into that too.
Okay.
There's this is what I love about the podcast, because like we could talk. There's so many different angles to pull from like each thing, because now I kind of want to talk about how, okay, you start to cultivate that self-awareness through like all the love that people give you. And then once you hit about age 6, 7, you start going to school, and now you start to see, okay, this kid's maybe smarter than me. This kid's has nicer clothes than me. This kid has worse clothes than me. This kid's shoes are busted up. This kid's dumb, etc. You start to see the difference in every person's life, and then through that, your ego starts to cultivate and develop.
The ego is built upon judgment
Yes.
and separation, and the ego is built upon seeing others as separate selves and not seeing them
because you can't understand that when you're that young.
No, exactly.
Because a lot of people don't even understand their egos. So like if your parents are completely unconscious, you're just going to be completely unconscious until like maybe you have a spiritual awakening one way or the other. But yeah, it's all comes through the judgment, because like, and especially as a kid, you don't necessarily know any better, but you still see things as different from yourself.
Yeah.
Like you don't know it's wrong to like pass judgment, but you also you just don't know it's wrong, but you're not necessarily like, judging that person for that. You just like see that as different than you.
And I think the judgment has to do, and the separation. I think the judgment and the separation have to do with us comparing ourselves.
Yeah, 100%.
So our comparisons to other people are saying like, oh, she's too hot, like she's hotter than me, or like,
she's skinnier than
he's
me.
Skinnier.
He's bigger than me.
Exactly. So like we have these labels, and that's all the judgment is. These judgments are labels. So if I say, John, you have on a brown sweatshirt right now.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a sweatshirt.
Whatever you want to call it.
I will call this.
What do you call it?
I don't know. What do you?
A jacket.
A jacket.
I'll say jacket.
We'll
call it a brown jacket.
Light jacket.
Right? I judged you.
Why, you don't like my jacket?
No. I assigned a label. I didn't accept you in your perfect form.
Yeah, because I have a jacket on.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Like, however we stylize our body, whatever happens in the external world, there need be no reason to put a judgment or a label upon it. We can't just let it be. That's the problem. That's why we get caught in our heads.
Yeah, no one lets anything be.
No.
If you just let everything be, there'd be no problems.
There would be no problems. No, because you're just seeing perfect form.
The ego could help you, understanding your ego could help you raise your level of consciousness to get to that place of love. But the ego is also what tears you down, because you start judging yourself, others, and then that whether you're like, okay, I don't like your gray hoodie, so you're worse than me, or whatever. Or I love your gray hoodie. I want that gray. Why don't I have that gray hoodie?
Yes.
Like, I suck because I don't have your gray hoodie. Your Carhartt nice hoodie. Like,
the comparison.
I might be poor because I don't have your Carhartt hoodie. Like, stuff like that. But that is the ultimate. That's why this is the best life to live, because once you understand the ego, it's like, yeah, like you said, it's just a video game.
Yeah.
And we're just walking around like watching
This is
people
my avatar.
interacting. Yeah, that's funny you say that, actually.
Because, dude, the avatar thing is a crazy, crazy thought to me. Because I realized that I could just level up. Like,
you can just love it. It's
like,
like, what prestige are you?
What prestige am I? Like, I realized after football season this year, I said, you know what? I'm gonna fucking level up before we get home for the summer. And I just went and worked, and I worked out every day and ate healthy and did religious study, and I just like came into like the most divine form of myself. And not only did I see it manifest physically, I saw it manifest mentally and spiritually. And I kind of fell into that perfect mind, body, spirit complex that like I saw myself there before I was even like this.
And now you're attracting things that you don't necessarily even want to attract.
Exactly.
But for the better, I would think.
For the better, yes.
100%.
Exactly.
But yeah,
Like,
because what you're like, he's resonating very higher than myself. But when you start, I think, was it you that said this before?
What?
Something about maybe I saw a video. Maybe you said this. I don't know. But essentially, whatever you're resonating with is what you will attract.
Okay.
So, the essential. What was?
We were talking about love and seeing love in the world.
I don't know where I heard.
No,
you
I
might have
think
said
I was
it.
saying
I
it
don't
earlier.
know. But yeah, that idea of whatever you're aligned with is whatever you will attract. So, if I'm like I've been in the gym, like 5-6 days a week, just bettering myself, and I've seen it manifesting. I've seen in my own physical appearance, in my mental space, like I've been more clear, all this stuff. And with that being said, you start to see like people around you start. I'm not even in the best shape, but you start to see different things. People will treat you differently, like
because you radiate positive energy.
Yes, that's essentially the point I'm trying to make.
Because when
the more grounded you are in yourself, the more people will, even if they don't understand, oh, this person's really grounded in themselves, they will still feel your energy and be like, what does this person have that I don't have?
Even if they don't have the words to explain it.
Yeah,
right?
And they probably
it's the concept of self-love. How much do I love myself? Right? And you can look in the mirror and you say it. If you look in the mirror every day and you say, how much do I love myself? And then affirm to yourself, I fucking love you. Look in the mirror and say it. Like, I fucking love you. You're the man.
And people have probably hard times doing that.
Exactly. They have a hard time accepting and loving and forgiving themselves. And that's been my karma recently is every person that I see, strangers, people that I know, as much as I can, I look at these people as they pass me, and I look at people as they're filling up my gas tank in my car today, and I say, in my head, in my throat chakra, I say, I accept you, I love you, and I forgive you. You are forgiven. Like, boom. I offer them. I have an abundance of love. I have so much energy. Like yesterday, I was talking to my friend. I'm standing on the beach, and I'm laying down staring at the stars, and I just like had to jump up. I get these ticks of energy, like so much. That's why I do qigong all day, because I need a healthy way to allow this positive energy.
You're just
to
off the
escape
charts.
me. I feel like I'm gonna blow up at all times. Like I open my eyes in the morning and I jump awake at 6 o'clock every morning, and I need ways to direct and channel this energy. So I do it through music, and I do it through journaling, and I do it through art, and I do it through qigong, and I do it through working out, and surfing and skiing. I have all these things that I can direct my energy through.
But they're positive things, because some people with like, if you had that much energy but use it for bad, think about all the bad shit you could do in your day. If you're getting up at 6 a.m., whatever time you go to sleep, think about all the bad shit that you could manifest into your life if you didn't have all these positive outlets. So that's something we can get into. Just it's essentially back to mindful practices.
Finding your practice.
Finding your practice, finding your stoke, like we talked about last summer. It's been almost a year since we talked about all that stuff. Yeah. But if your passion really is what it comes down to, just finding what, like my mom was telling me today, that she's like, you and David don't seem to care about getting a job. It's like, I don't necessarily not care about getting a job, but I also haven't found something that I'm passionate about yet. This and like helping people awaken to their being, consciousness, etc. is something that I'm passionate about. So why not take it for a ride and see where we end up? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm like, cause like, I can get a fucking job if I want, but like, I'm not tripping about it. And like I see it in my friends too. My friends that are like, "Oh, you don't have a job yet? Like what are you doing? Like you need a job, all this stuff." Or they're stressed because their interview didn't go well. They didn't get the job they want. They didn't get the salary they want. They don't like their job, etc. All this shit is just added stress that you don't need, and they have no way of releasing it and letting it go because they're just so caught up in
the physical world.
And it's caught up in the physical world, but it's also caught up in their own mental state because they're allowing everyone around them to tell them what they should and shouldn't be doing.
Yes.
Like, that's the best thing about us, I think, is you could not, like, approve of what we're doing or whatever, but, like, I'm not going to let that stop me from doing something that I love, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people will shut down their passion because
of others.
Their mom doesn't like it, their dad doesn't approve of it, their best friend doesn't approve of it, their girlfriend, their boyfriend, etc. Like, you just got to find whatever you're passionate about and go out and do it.
Your
and
true,
if it doesn't
authentic
work,
self.
yeah, you're true. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't work, then I don't think that was your true passion.
Yeah.
Because I think whatever your passion is, it will manifest.
When you align passion and purpose, you find you
It will
create the
manifest.
meaning and you create that abundance in
Yes.
your life. Like, I asked the question and I say, do you put your awareness more on yourself or do you put your awareness more on the others around you? Do you feed off the energy that you have an abundance of, or do you let others affect your own emotional state?
Are you asking me that question or just
I
like,
will.
is that
yes,
rhetorical?
no, ask. Answer.
I would say both.
Okay.
Because I definitely let people. I don't think I necessarily change my state based off of like what other people think, but I still maybe allow people to like. I guess yeah.
Do you think of yourself as a mirror? Do you think when other people are doing something around you that you're going to then reflect that behavior back to them?
Depends on the scenario. I
Yes.
think.
Okay.
If it's something bad, then no. But if
Yeah.
it's like a good situation, then yeah.
Okay.
Like if like the age-old thing, if you were gonna jump off a bridge, would I jump off the bridge?
If it looked deep enough.
Like if it was deep enough and the scenery was tough and we had clips, I would jump.
All right.
But like yeah, if it wasn't deep enough, I wouldn't jump.
No, it's a.
But yeah, no, that is a good question because it's also like it makes you think. Because like yeah, I also think at least the space that I'm in around my buddies and shit, they look at me for like reason and answers and stuff sometimes. But like I don't know everything, and I need them to help me go through. I'm going through shit. Like I need help.
You're still a human.
Yeah,
bro.
like I don't have all the answers. Like I need just as much as help as they do. But I find myself a lot of times giving advice or helping people, and I don't even necessarily like take my own advice sometimes.
Yes.
That might be my biggest problem. Is like saying this shit, and I'm not even fully resonating with the stuff I'm saying because it
Yes.
helps other people. Everything we say helps other people, but I'm not even using it to help myself.
Well, you got to think that it goes in waves. Like maybe you have used all the things. That
I
you're
have
saying.
100%.
You
but
have,
not
but maybe not
all
the
the time.
Exactly. So it's like
It's
how,
about finding how can you
Yeah.
live by this code
Like
all
we
the
always
time.
talk about the vibration
Yeah.
and like trying to.
That's
and
the
that
best
line
way
is,
to describe
That line
it.
is truth. That line is presence. That line is God. Like, how do I get in complete alignment with that? And like, you may be resonating high, but when you're resonating high, the pendulum's gonna swing real fucking
like
low.
the fucking what was it called? It was literally called.
I had a quote that I put on my Instagram
We
from the
said it
Kabbalion
already.
yesterday.
The
Here.
principle of rhythm, like literally what you just said. The principle swings.
So I said, this is the quote from the Kabbalion talking about that principle, right? There are temperaments which permit of but low degrees of enjoyment and equally low degrees of suffering, while there are others which permit the most intense enjoyment but also the most intense suffering, the Kabbalion. So now we could dive into that, right? Think of it. You have a pendulum and you hold it all the way up here.
Yeah.
And you swing it, and it's going to go all the way this way, and it's going to go all the way this way. But eventually, it's going to be perfectly aligned down the middle.
Like I could even say like I manifested that shit in my life with my relationship. I was in a relationship. It was all good. It gets to the peak of how good it could get, and then it just swings to the other side, and I'm no longer in that relationship.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, now I have to find myself again and come back to, and then
Because you found yourself
center
before that relationship.
yeah, center myself again because I kind of lost my, not that it's a bad thing, but because that's what will happen.
Yeah.
Because you start you want to do more for that person than you're doing for yourself, but you need to find the balance of both of those things, and you can't. Essentially, the singularity, the God, the all presence is that pendulum, keeping that pendulum as still as possible. But that is the age-old. That is the distortion. It's never gonna stop swinging. It'll never stop swinging.
Never stop swinging.
But the goal is to, how could you get it to slow the swinging, to not go from one extreme to the next, because like you said, it will fall.
Yes.
And it will fall hard. If you think you're having like the best day ever, the next day you might wake up.
But you need that intense enjoyment.
You do
that
need
intense pleasure to be able to deal with that intense
yes,
pain. Because you need something to look forward to. Because if you're down
100%.
in the dumps, like this spiritual awakening for me has been, it's been fucked up at times where it's oh my God, I'm high today and I haven't smoked pot, I haven't drank, I haven't done anything, and I just wake up and I feel high. I'm high on life. And then you wake up the next day and you look in the mirror and you're like, I could do so much better. I feel like shit.
That's one thing I like too. Jocko said this in a clip I saw of him. It's like, what you did yesterday does not fucking matter. Like, that's why he wakes up at like 4:30 every day. Yeah. Because it's like, you might have gotten after it yesterday, but like that, you're winning. That's already in the past. It's over. Like, if you went to the gym, fucking took a cold shower, ice bath, sauna, ran, ate healthy, all right, you could do it good that day, but you didn't win anything today. It's a fresh day, and over time that will compound and that will get you to your best self. But if you just like are living in the past, oh, I went to the gym yesterday, so I'm gonna take a day off, you're never gonna get to the end goal.
No.
So that's why I think we should go to the gym after this.
All right, I'll go to the gym after this. All right. So we've been talking for a while, so we're gonna go to the gym.
Yeah, let's get after.
Let's get after it. Go get a lift in. We're joining a new gym.
What time is it?
We got to hit a lot of pull-ups, a lot of push-ups.
Word.
Something.
But
yeah. That's all I got, guys.
That's all I got.
Guys,
I think we should call someone out that maybe swings on the pendulum a lot.
Who swings?
Their energy's not in line.
Elon Musk.
What's wrong with Elon?
I think
I don't know what to think. Let's talk about that for 5 minutes, just because I don't know what the fuck to think about Elon.
We might lose the video, but whatever.
That's fine. But I always think about this because it's like half a part of me thinks Elon means well, but the other part of me feels like,
he gave $50 million to OpenAI, ChatGPT.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
He did, yeah, and I think he's very genuinely concerned about the
AI shit.
But also he's pushing the Agenda 21 and the Neuralink agenda, and he's pushing the electric cars and automated transportation and mass surveillance. Like it's
I guess he is bad because
I don't like to call anybody bad though anymore. I don't necessarily.
I guess he's not bad.
How about our call outs? Change our call outs from "you're bad" to "check yourself, motherfucker." You know what I'm saying?
No one's bad. No one's just bad. Like, no one's a rotten egg for like ever. Like, you could always change.
Yeah. Like, I don't think Elon's a bad guy. I think genuinely he means well, but also at the same time, he is in such a unique circumstance that he has so much weight on him. You couldn't imagine having that much money.
And he also works like crazy.
Yeah.
He doesn't even have time. Do you think Elon meditates?
No.
I don't think Elon has any time.
I don't think Elon has any time
to even
for himself.
think. He doesn't. It's just do.
Yeah.
For the betterment.
And it's Elon doing it. It's not anybody else doing it.
Yeah.
And
he is very rooted in himself like that. Like, I heard he's very hard to work with and stuff.
Yes.
People don't like working with him because it's like Elon's way or the highway.
Which is,
but
he's just so intelligent. That's the thing. Yeah. Is because
you can't.
We can rely on the spiritual intelligence and emotional intelligence, and he relies heavily on the IQ. You need a balance between IQ, SQ, and EQ.
Yeah.
Like, some people are naturally more gifted and intelligent. That's why we have Excel programs in school. But some people are more naturally intuitive and naturally understanding and empathetic, and they're on the EQ scale. And then some people are born and they just sort of love life and they get it and they wake up happy every day and they're on the SQ scale. So it's like, how do we find a balance between all the three of them?
Yeah, you want to be a 10 on every scale.
Yeah.
It's the goal.
We're balancing out. So
all right, so did we just check? Wait, did we check Elon?
Yeah, we checked Elon. Check yourself, Elon.
Check Elon. Go take a break, Elon.
Go meditate. Go sit in a forest.
Go take one of your self-driving cars to the desert and just figure it out,
All right. Well, this was a killer podcast.
I
And
think it was
you guys
great.
can check us out on all socials. If you're still here, God bless you. We're sending you much love. And I'll sing a little mantra for you. Means I meditate on the glory of the infinite creator in Sanskrit. I'll sing it for you.
Go sing it. Sing it.
Om Bor Bhuvasva Tat Savitor Varinyam Bargo Devasya Dimahi Dio Yona Prachodayat. Perfect. All right. You guys have a fucking great day.
That was awesome.
All right.
Have
Peace
a
out.
blessed day, guys.